Airfix Club limited edition 1 to 72nd BAE Hawk, first and last. And this will be the last video in my Airfix Club series for this month. For this, or better said, for that year, 2022, I only have the box because I became a member only in January of 2023, and as mentioned in some of the back videos, when you become a member at the beginning of the year, you can also get the previous year's only the box of the kit if they're in stock, but 99% they will be. So let's take a look inside, or better said, first at the box. It's quite an unusual box. It's square because it's one of the few that contain two kits actually. And on the top they have the schemes and a little bit of information about the BAE Hawks. Bottom only the warnings, printed by Cartograph, of course, the decals, and on the sides just the book design standard. And because it's a club edition, it doesn't have any flying hours, so standard top opening. So let's take a look inside. As mentioned, two kits are included, instructions and decals. So let's take a look at the decal sheet first. Quite superb. Anytime I see Cartograph decals, I'm amazed how good they can come out. Of course, everything is on the same sheet for both airplanes. For control, or rather said, instrument panels are included because this is a training aircraft, meaning it has a front and back seater. So double controls, double everything, and I like that they have included everything. So the stencils are for both airplanes, and that's nice. So you could fully build both of them. So this is the first, the prototype, and this is the last Hawk in service. This tooling, I think it came 2009, and here is also the remnants of the Airfix rebirth in that year. I'll talk about that in a moment. So let's take a look at the instructions. So information about the airplane, and those are the old school, or better said, the revamp of Airfix in 2009 type of instructions. They're not as the new ones, the so-called CAD, but they are also done in that fashion. They weren't fully shown as printed as parts, but only the outlines. But I don't think those are hand-drawn. I think they are also included from the 3D models of the parts. But anyway, it's a simple build, so it starts with the pilot because you do two of them here. So that's the first part. Then in one square they show to build the whole cockpit, and I'm not sure if they only include one pilot here or both. They only mentioning one. I will see later in the parts, but it's quite a simplified kit, so not a lot of details. They do mention the ballast here, 5 grams. So as mentioned in the previous video, if that doesn't fit here in the front, you can triple it up. It's 15 grams is not that much strain on the plastic legs, so it will hold up. You can just put it behind the cockpit, also here on the bottom side of the back seat. It's just necessary to be in front, so a few millimeters in front of the back wheels, because that's what you need to counter the rest of the plane. So in the front with the ballast, so it doesn't sit on its tail. And with that, the fuselage is complete. There are also covers for the back instrument panel. Also, the intakes are 2 parts only, so no full inlet. So it should go through the plane, and the engine is about here, and it goes back here. So you won't be able to see any of that. So it's up to you if you want to do aftermarket or scratch build it or just paint it black. It won't be visible at all. There is of course one build of the Hawk, and better said Airfix Hawk, that I saw on the Brit Modeler forum. I think the gentleman's name is Friday, and as far as I read, he used to be a test pilot, I think, for RAF. So yeah, he knows his stuff, and he pretty detailed up this whole kit. And he did so much detailing that it doesn't look as an Airfix kit at all. So he did a superb job, so you can take that as a reference if you want to spruce up the details. He did an amazing job. Of course, Revell came up a few years later with much better tooling, which also include the demo version that has those special pipes in the back for the aerobatics, so that the fumes come out when they hit those colorful fumes behind when they hit the exhaust, so the hot air. It's like a cloud behind, like a trail. And as far as I heard, that should be like some kind of coolant liquid combined with food coloring, and that's how you get those nice trails on those aerobatic shows. But anyway, back to the model. Everything is simplified. Wings are just 3 parts, and of course the controlling hydraulics are another 6, so that's 9 parts in total. And it goes together with the rest of the fuselage. This is a nice inclusion. The front light, and also dimension of the angle of the horizontal stabilizers to have them at a drop that should be 10 degrees if this is 80. So it looks like a real thing. And here is the air brake that could be either done closed or opened, and they come to the wheels, which are assembled here. And the last step should be the wheel bay covers, and they also mentioned the angle, so it should be slightly at 5 degrees. And I think that is because of the centerline fuel tank that comes there, and also the gun, and that tank with that fluid for the aerobatic shows. And here on the last page they mention the stencils. So it's common for both planes, and I think this is about 80 something stencils, so not that much. It can be achieved in about an hour and a half. In my tempo, maybe someone can do it a little bit faster, but I think it's at least for me, the funnest part of the build before you apply the main decals, because it's so detailed that you see those stencils. In my eyes, it really comes to life when it has the stencils applied. It's the step where it doesn't look like a toy anymore. It looks like a real thing with so much details. And as I mentioned, the remnants of the Airfix revamping, they also did it here, like back there in 2009 and 10 and 11, and I think they stopped somewhere in 2012, 13. They used to do a separate sheet for the scheme in a glossy paper in full color, as can be seen here. And yeah, that's pretty nice, because it's an A4 format, and you can hang it somewhere when you're building your stuff here, you're painting it. so you can really look up how it will come out, and it's pretty easier to imagine those colorful airplanes when also the instructions are in color, not grayscale. So that's quite nice. So yeah, this is the first flight of the Hawk, August 21st, 1974. So that was 52 years ago. So quite a while since then. And I think this was the pretty common scheme until the beginning of the 2000s, I think. Then they switched to black. I don't know if the training aircraft remained in that scheme. I don't know. I'm not an expert on RF planes, but that's what we can see on the backside. So this is the Empire test goal. So I assume the training aircraft are now in black. I don't know the logic behind that, because it's pretty common that those need to do an emergency landing, or yeah, there's even a worse scenario than emergency landing. But anyway, that's the logic behind those flashy colors. If a plane goes down, the search and rescue can find it. And with the black one, I don't know what's the logic there, but maybe they wanted to look a little bit more elite for their cadets. I don't know. Somebody surely decided to do that. But anyway, this is the latest back then. I don't know if any more scheme came afterwards, but this is August 21st, 2019, and this is also August 21st. So this one sports a nice, I think this griffin on the tail looks quite nice, and they have a misprint here, so not in registry, but yeah, that's not an issue. It's only instructions. But yeah, it was really nice back then from Airfix to have a separate sheet in glossy paper to look at and mask and paint your aircraft in the end. And yeah, let's take a look at the plastic. Both kits come bagged as usual nowadays. So that is 1 sprue, 2 sprues, 3 sprues, 4 sprues, and clear one as the 5th sprue. So 5 sprues in total. So let's take a look at each one. So first the fuselage halves, and as mentioned, this is the comeback of Airfix in 2009. I think this is one of the first tooling, maybe second or third they did. I cannot recall. I think the first one was the Hawker Hurricane. But this one came the same year out, and yeah, the so-called trench pen lines. But I don't find them problematic, because when you use primer and color and gloss before decals and after decals and a wash and semi matte varnish, then yeah, it's okay. But yeah, pretty detail lacking. The real airplane has a lot more of pen lines, which can also be seen on the Revell tooling. So if you're looking to build BAE Hawk, I would go for the Revell tooling, not the Airfix one. But it is what it is. It's a product of its time. So it's almost 16, 17 years old. And yeah, so fuselage halves, the tail is in one go on the left hand side. horizontal stabilizers, and I think those are Peter tubes and some landing gear struts on the inside. Almost zero details. And I think those ejector pins are not so problematic because the cockpit tab would hide them, so no issue, or better said, no need to fill them up. And lots of space for ballast either in the front of the nose or beneath the back seat, or at least here. And yeah, the engine doesn't have any pin to hold it, so that's another trick, or better said, a tip, when you glue the engine exhaust, to take a little bit of sprue, cut it out like 5 millimeters, put it right beside it, and put a little bit glue so that you can make a plug there so that the engine doesn't come front, so that it doesn't fall in. And I like to do that on my airplanes because when I paint them, I like to impel them on a paintbrush through the engine exhaust and hold them and have it like a lollipop when I paint it with my airbrush. So yeah, that's a nice stuff to do here. Most common newly tooling have that like a common, like the designers thought of that, so that's something to watch out on the older tooling. But other than lacking the pen lines, which can be scribed, and the rivets, not much to criticize here. Like I said, it's the beginning of the new Airfix, so there's no much point criticizing this. It is what it is. The next sprue contains the wings, the central fuel tank, engine inlets, some GPS or whatever antennas those are, the landing gear, and those hydraulics that goes beneath the wing, and I think those are on the doors for the main landing gear. Yeah, not much details going on here, but for its time it's great. It was a nice addition. I remember when I first bought a Hawk back then, I think it was already 2010. I bought it as a present for my good friend, and we were amazed when we opened the box in comparison what Italeri or Matchbox had to offer for the BAE Hawk. So this was quite a welcome kit back then. Not much details in the wheel well, so only a representation of few hydraulic lines. Other than that, nothing else. But yeah, at least they keep those toolings nice. They take care of it, no flashing here, so that's great. And the next sprue is the wings, the bottom side of them. Somehow only one pilot is included. That's pretty strange for a two-seater, so I don't know the story behind it. So in this case, two kits are included, so maybe one can be occupied by a crew fully to its capacity, and the other one can be placed empty. But yeah, pretty unusual. And here is the engine exhaust. I don't see any particular details there, but it's about 7-8 millimeters. And yeah, those are the landing gear covers. I think they need to be cut up somewhere. Yeah, I think here at this pen line. And yeah, this is the rest of the parts. So this is also something to criticize, but back then the tooling wasn't capable to have those inlets molded with a hole, but something that can be done with a scalpel, so not a biggie, and can also be drilled from the inside. It just needs a little bit of patience. And the last gray sprue contains the cockpit tub, instrumental panels, and I think that part doesn't need to be cut up. It's for the closed door, so landing gear up, so the flying position. So all good there. Here are the parts that you need for the one with the landing gear down. Here are the seats, not much detail, but they also don't need that much, but can be spruced up with a little bit of plastic art. And the wheels, not that perfect, but it's good for what it is. And on the back side there's no need for details. And that's it for the gray plastic. And the last sprue is the canopy, which comes in one part. So meaning if you want to have it open, you would have to cut it really precise about here. But otherwise it contains the details for the detonation cord. I don't know if they're raised or inscribed. Seems that they're inscribed, so meaning that you can put white paint in it and wash the excess off, so that you have that nice representation of the detonation cord there. That is needed when the crew has to eject, so the canopy basically explodes upon their heads and they can be ejected safely, as far ejection safety goes. It's never safe. And this is also the protection glass that comes between the pilots in the middle. It has to be painted like that radom color. It's also represented here in the instructions. So that's, at least for me, it's quite tricky to do. But I think it needs just a little bit of patience. But otherwise, it was packed good. No scratches anywhere. But as far as distortion goes, it's quite thick and distorted, so if you take care to do detailing in the cockpit and put it closed, not much will be seen. So either have a replacement or have it cut in half and have it open. So that's it for the 2022 Club Limited Edition. I only have the kit box, not the whole red box, but I think they were pretty much the same content as the 2023, which I show in the previous video. And yeah, of course, this is sold out at Airfix site. You can only get the kits at the beginning of the year for the previous year, so you have to be quick about that one. And here and there I saw it on the auction sites like eBay and private sales. Yeah, the price varies from like 15 to 30 euros depending what's worth to the seller, what's worth to you. Is it worth? Do I recommend it? Not quite so. The tooling nowadays, it's quite old. It's not a good representation. Like I mentioned, it can be done, but with a lot of work. But in my case, I would take the decals and put them on the Revell tooling. And yeah, basically this is the highlight of this box, the decals, because you have the first and last hawk if you want to represent that. And I think for the rest of the world is not that interesting, but for the UK members and UK modelers, it's quite interesting to have a domestic topic. Like I mentioned, there are lots of people that use either to fly this machine or be flown in it in the backseat, or to maintain it, or otherwise have it somewhere in their career. But anyway, it's nice to have a domestic representation of your country's Air Force. and I think for the UK members it's worth to have something like this. Otherwise you have to be a great enthusiast to have this in the rest of the world. But yeah, it is what it is. Plastic wise, decal wise, it's excellent, and only for the decals I would recommend buying this. I don't know if any other manufacturer does this, but if not, it's worth to hunt this box only for the decals. And even if the kits included are built, they would nicely represent the aircraft, especially if you like the Hawk. So that's no discussion there. Until the next one.